Justin here with 4J Real Estate, joined here today with my good buddy, Ryan.Larson. As you can see, we got a new format, no longer on Zoom. It's our weekly mortgage update, WMU 2.0. Ryan, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Ryan.Larson. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota originally, living in Arlington, Virginia for the past 10 years. I work for Guaranteed Rate as a mortgage consultant, basically all things residential lending.
Awesome. Why did you decide to get into mortgage lending?
Oh man, I kind of just landed here. I graduated college in 2009, couldn't find a job really doing anything. Started on the mortgage processing side with Wells Fargo. Didn't even know what a mortgage was, didn't know what an interest rate was, didn't know what anything was, but kind of learned it as I went through processing, underwriting, went into management, where I was basically managing escalations on files and saw all the people that were originating, like, I think I can do this. And instead of dealing with everyone else's problems, let me just create my own problems. So I flipped over to sales about 7-8 years ago. Met you about 6 years ago, and
where did we meet? How did we meet?
So I was just thinking about this on the way over. I had an internet lead, one of my very first loans. You probably didn't even know it. One of my very first deals. You were the buy-side agent on it, and it went smoothly, obviously, as all of our loans do.
Yeah.
And we got coffee right in downtown DC, and then we've just started doing some deals, and now look where it's go.
So you were with Wells Fargo.
Correct.
And I typically don't recommend people use Wells Fargo because it's one of the big banks, and the big banks are notorious for not closing on time.
Well, you can say that now because I work for Guaranteed Rate.
No. It was different because you were with private mortgage lending.
Correct.
And so you had access to tools and a tool belt that not a lot of people had.
Sure.
So if you needed to close something in 21 days or 14 days, you could do it. In most cases.
I definitely made it seem like we could.
Yeah. But I mean, it was different than kind of going through like your normal,
correct, absolutely,
lending processes.
Yep.
That's why I actually started working with you and referring.
So it wasn't me. It was just.
It was what you had
model.
Access to. That a lot of people had. They had their wealth management at Wells. They had other things with Wells. There were incentives that they could get because they worked through that.
Absolutely.
Not that we want to talk about Wells because you're now with Guaranteed Rate.
Yeah.
But. I think that it's important. I think that that's an awesome segue that you made in terms of Guaranteed Rate, and I'm glad the partnership's continued.
Absolutely. And how about yourself?
What do you mean?
Give me. Where's you were on the hill, and then you decided to venture over into real estate, or what happened there?
So when everybody's in their mid-20s, they're about to buy like a condo house, their first house, whatever it may be. So there was a group of us that all were going to buy condos, and we used to frequent a bar on Capitol Hill. And
not you.
No, not me. What are you talking about? Fish? Water? So what would happen is the bartender was a real estate agent. And so we all were friendly with this person and said, okay, we'll go ahead and use you.
Yeah.
And this was like in the early 2000s. You're making me date myself. That's terrible. But anyway, you were just graduating college and I was buying my first house. Grace, make me feel old there. Anyway, so we used our friend. The friend actually had contacts, from a home inspector to a title company to a lender, and they were all kind of in this term called collusion, where it was kind of like a buddy thing where we didn't necessarily get like the best representation.
Sure.
So one of my friends bought a house that was basically on cinder blocks, and it was about to fall through because the home inspector didn't do a good inspection. I bought my first place, and I had a $6,000 lien on the property that the title company didn't catch. So I was like, I always loved real estate, loved going to open houses. And I was like, well, maybe I can get my license and help my friends. And so I was working on the hill, got my license, and was like, I'll just start helping out friends. And it's kind of parlayed ever since then. Yeah. Who would have thought, I would have left the hill and went into real estate full time and then opened my own company.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Look, who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Not us.
Not us, no.
Yeah.
Where I felt like I could make the biggest impact and difference is being able to advocate, because there's so many loopholes where people can fall victim to circumstances, situations in real estate that I felt like I could help them in better.
I think I have every client that asks about title insurance, and I always just it's the nightmare, your chances are you're never going to have it, but
get it.
Yeah,
get it.
It is.
Absolutely.
It's worth it.
Yep. Thank you for this introduction today.
You bet.
I think that it's great that we're now in this new format. Where can we find you?
We're big time now.
Yeah, we're big time.
Yeah.
We'll continue to do more of these.
Yeah.
And people can find you at Ryan Larson Lens on all the socials. You can find us at 4J Real Estate, and be sure to subscribe so that you can get all of the wealth of knowledge in regard to lending and mortgages from Ryan, and hear a little bit about real estate as well.
Like and follow.
Like and follow.